And then his face immediately tightened. Please explain. Why did you show up here? I can also close my eyes to the enemy. He has been executed since Gao ascended to the throne. You have also disappeared. Everyone thinks you've gone to Theo. You are the gatekeeper in this place. The old man replied casually. 10 precious items collected from the destination. They also need someone to look after them. Compared to people who have a limited lifespan like you, the more we are suited to this job. Not Sao. Can the hell ask? So you also think Gao Thin's way is right, or Sao? The old man sighed. Why do you have to say that? Give the dangers of this world to the fairies. High at the top. We can't do this kind of obscurity. You think they are? Will pay attention to the lives and deaths of ants like us. Even if it leads to permanent death. And death for all beings, Sao. The old man heard that. Then the anger points towards the big monster can shout. Have you been a king for too long? So the brain is broken. Under the scourge that can survive is already in DTO. I want to live can show. Want to contribute against the enemy? Hold your nose a little. Can fuck. Hearing him scold, his face remained extremely calm. If morality says no. At the same time, the Kier card command ran to the treasury. Look at the room full of treasures in front of you. It can't help but utter terror. That's how many national flags there are. Tons of these years. How many pre-dynastic tombs have you dug? For a moment, it calmed down. Now is not the time to feel these things. You have to find the golden jewel first. When finished, open your eyes and look around. After a while, he looked at the coffin hanging from the sky and said, In there, Sao. Next, he quickly jumped to the top of the coffin. Without hesitation, open the lid of the coffin raw. Inside is Gao Sheng's body, holding the traditional jade. When you see the order, you are excited. It's a derivative of the Kai Dao dynasty. Engak by tradition. It quickly jumped inside the coffin. And then he grabs the jewel in his hand. Dead body. When he got the jade, he turned excitedly and left. Without even noticing that, the two eyes suddenly opened up. Then the hand moved slowly. Finally, sit up and take back the gold. The woman suddenly lost her face. The command immediately sank into a sweat raw, like rain. With sharp eyes, he asked, What are you doing? I can hear the sound. The only eye on his face was instantly large. The body of Gao Sheng Sao is back to life. This is not the same as what I said, eh? He remembered what he had said before. When acting, this time, Cao Thin as Sao still has more power to restore positive. I have calculated it. There is absolutely no mistake. I waited forever to see it speak. Gao Sheng was a little impatient to continue. I left just when I was hungry. When you are done, give your hand to the card. Don't give it a chance to resist. Open your mouth and put it in. Very fast, the sound of chewing away from the coffin. At the same time in the royal palace. Lower the Emperor Pol angrily looked at her, constantly scolding. This is the winning hand. What do you say? The god of sight of the 1,000 times army is destroyed. 3 magic bodies that we have a hard time creating. It was also destroyed by the evil man, Kier. Whether your hair is good or not. I can't wait to wear it. After a while, explain, you know. Before the unknown Master Kier, to disturb the celestial plane in Henendao. My performance has never been 7. The dog doesn't care to keep screaming. Before that is before that. What I'm saying is the present, before the old man and the Avalokitesvara. You also calculated a dangerous right hexagonal for them. If there's a problem with their hexagons. He just talked about it. The 10 people next to him also spoke. Something happened. The bird immediately stopped and turned its head to look. She also turned her head and looked at her. 10 quickly say it. I have a dead man. Hadong Tao is in a village somewhere. In the middle of the field there are souls playing bridge stones. This sphere is a self-made magic weapon. It's called a soul-nourishing organ. Suddenly, there were countless cracks on the bridge. And then it immediately broke. The spirits are playing. It also immediately became a demon. Sword Nam Tao Mijo. This man is a soldier, a wandering martial artist VI grade B. The most excellent cultivation medium, Chu Ta. He is right now. We've just been through a tough battle. With a bunch of monsters. Go into the temple and look at the statue in front of you. He's a little breathless, says Ra. You are the only one left, my dear. The sword in his hand. It is also a self-made magic weapon. It's called 10 Evil Karma, and it's called Exorcism. In front of his incomprehensible eyes right now, the sword also suddenly broke. At this moment, both eyes suddenly opened. And inside, there's still fresh blood flowing out. He looked at the person in front of him and laughed furiously. Jiang Nam Dao district of Tun Mo Chang Shou. In a synagogue. There is also a magic weapon made by hand. It's the warm hearth exercises that help with spiritual practice. Zhao Dong was sitting with his master practicing in front of the. Suddenly, I heard the sound. He opened his eyes. I saw that a button appeared on the worm. He quickly called his master up. The old man next door, he immediately woke up a little irritated. Then he pointed to the pot in front of him. Your necklace is broken. And then, in a lot of other places. As through the inner Hebei way. Sun Nam Tao and so on and clouds. All the magic that the world has made. It all broke down immediately. The glass traps, the 2 demons of Nin Trong in Kai Feng government. It's the same as soon as the glass breaks. The 2 demons immediately came out from the inside. The past saw that and was terrified. It was still good when I received this. It's only been a while and it's broken. It shouldn't be. The 2 demons slowly stopped their bodies again. They stand still for a moment. And then suddenly turn around and look at the past. The past inside the prison. I saw them turn their heads and watch me whisper, Cole is not okay. And then immediately shouted, 103. Stop watching the play. Help me to hear the cry of the past. The little girl's head asked me not to help him. The boy shook his head. Don't need him. If you can save yourself, sit still. Not speaking up, outside side, I can see the sword in my hand suddenly. Broke my face and thought. The world is dead. The gatekeeper is here. Prove that the perpetrator is someone else. In a prison that's capable of doing this. Maybe it's only Gao. It's the wrong way. On the opposite side of the execution SA also looked at the Kier sword. Ask Nin Trung. Can you see clearly? Ning Trung nodded. See, the sword body is cast out the shape of the sun. The moon star. Mountains and rivers. The sword's handle is engraved with the words farming. Unite the world. It's a simulation of the false swordsman. He began to analyze everything. The sword has always been the holy sword of mankind, whether it's a simulation. Just meet the conditions. It can still radiate extremely human power. Ignore judgment. He, though, took the opposite position from His Majesty. But he holds the title of king. The opposite is reluctant to meet the full conditions for use. Porch sword. It's just one of his stations. Why didn't they come to us? He just slashed his sword to the ground. Perhaps the existence of your majesty was. It was revealed by someone who knows. Even the Kier religious figure is not dead. He broke into the 3rd floor underground. A sword he used earlier was for him. Sao can fuck. Right now, in the heart of the mind, is also rapidly spinning. Remember their original plan. The most important thing is to be patient. He, in charge of harassing hexagonal performers of the celestial ministry. The next thing is to break into Tianlao. The monster can be in charge of confining the dragon's legs, when taking the traditional jade is the second most important. Create a dead puppet instead of a stray cannon. And the clay statue of Buddha. The third most important thing. Tran Haiyan Vu was arrested in prison. Make sure that the sound is of fourth importance. Not to mention the recovery of Gao Sheng. It's been pushed a lot. Everything is of third importance. Internal paint has also been damaged. The ability to drop out of school is very strong. But if you fall into the hands of a master of the same level, if you have a higher level, it is difficult to escape. Once he dies, any items associated with him will also be destroyed. The puppet died instead. The world of artillery lost. Maybe all of these weapons can't be used anymore. I hope the dark side can survive. Let's do the analytical thinking for a moment. Then he looked at Nin Trung and said, we can't delay anymore. Even if you force him to burn his own will. We have to deal with them as soon as possible. If heaven is destroyed, and the prisoners inside took the opportunity to escape. Your Majesty, I am responsible. Ning Trung heard that and nodded seriously. I can see the hell is still in my head. There is no gender. I can't take the 100 under your eyelids. They are, even if you spend all your energy turning into a body. To leave the world alone. Then the painting plot to take the national jade. Will also make the court relentless pursuit. He is no longer a king like me. It can lead people to escape the court's scrutiny. Haha, what are we thinking? The plan has reached this stage. And I think the way back is for them. Let's use death as a reminder. Let them go. Convenient, try your best to break. This storm is as broken as possible. Let's make a little trouble. Think about it on him. The energy suddenly exploded. Behind him, a giant yellow giant is condensed from the rapidly emerging volition. The former has just appeared. He swung his sword in the direction of the two men. That cut down. SA executed not in time to avoid. He was struck by a sword. After flying death, SA executed. The hell can you continue to make decisions? To take the center of the vision of the VI Dao. Around him right now, 3 prayer balls have appeared. Karma and power. Ning Trung now ran out behind him. The knife was quickly released. Evil has just appeared. Open your mouth and you can fuck. The dust immediately scattered. SA executed also quickly back out. While he was contemplating. Then, inside the dust, there is a light that FLIs out. Hit through his body. This one trick, it caused half of his body to be broken. Chemical industry, VI blade. Since when has this bastard been practicing this? Nin Trung saw. Then I was a little nervous, shouted the old man. He's also currently working on the devil. Raging shirt, meaning soul devil. The police officer heard him scream. I can't die worrying about you. He just finished. Then there's a blaze of light that's going to hit him. Fortunately, he reacted quickly. Jump to the side to avoid. The king of the monsters. It is now wrapped in a knife. The cracks on the kai. But he didn't notice. Look from a distance, execute, speak. The tiger is not you. I've accumulated all my karma over the years. They can't kill you. You're going to become an immortal, aren't you? SA execution did not respond, but yelled out in anger. You're son of a bitch just now. How much karma does it take? You all these years, how many people have died in the end? The hell can I say? Since the change of Ha Nam Dao to now, half of the civilians and martial artists died of a large-scale demon. When the essay executed, I couldn't believe it. Do you know what you're talking about? Can the hell still tie? That serenity is a necessary sacrifice. Not like that. We will not be able to fight. Dragons of this age. You see, I used the power of the sword. To be a man of equal ability. As if you were seriously injured. Next year, I will use the power and the power to kill you. Let the prisoners out. It's very satisfying, isn't it? Inside Lao's house. And suddenly at this moment, he smiled. Then he looked up at the queen in the opposite Lao house. The opposite of the four limbs of the man who died due to heat. Stay close to people. I'll take you out. The queen smiled when she heard that. The 9 peaks of the power of calamity, and all things strong. Nothing is broken. That's the chronology. The Kai Kuang dynasty has not yet fallen to the world. Natural disasters and ancient ghosts. Ruling this world together. Extreme circumstances. Let the human tribes. I haven't been exposed to martial arts and magic wizardry, so it's very difficult for people to survive these days. In such a desperate time, that person appeared. It's an outsider who shines brightly. Genius, wonderful. That person comes from the land of the sunset, is a supreme enlightened being who can subdue ghosts and kill demons. To feel deeply the suffering of this world. That person has crossed the snowy fields, swamps and big rivers, to where humanity has not yet developed, and pass on the magic to them. People from there, he finally gained the power to conquer the demons against ghosts for thousands of years. This power has been honed by countless talented human beings, and it's become more and more complete. And its name is now demonic raging devils. Nin Trung is using that right now to fight with Can Fok. After a fight, in his hands, he has now stopped reciting a fire. He stared at the enemy. Try this. Then immediately throw the fire towards the head. That hit too. When he saw that, he put up the shield. When the fire hits the shield, it is stopped. After a while it completely disappears. Ning Trung is not surprised to see that. Even the fire of the tarpaulin doesn't work. If so, burn it a little harder. Ever since history began to record things, ever since, there are 2 cases like this, of the natural accidents that are recorded. What makes the world as well as the kingdom the cheapest diet? Their names are floods and droughts. Then floods that wash away and engulf everything. The horrors of drought are even more severe. It brings despair to people. For food and water, it is the basis for the existence of all living beings. And drought will continue to consume these 2 things until it's exhausted, even the most prosperous of human dynasties. If you're under the rotational impact of floods and droughts, it will also move from prosperity to decline. And it's collapsing at a very rapid rate. Throughout the ages, many too practitioners tried to use the enormous power of the flood and drought to gain strength, and then come back to calm these calamities. But people who try this, there hasn't been a successful AI in hundreds of thousands of years. Slowly people also discovered there are only dragons. Then you can borrow the flood. Only the demons born in years of drought can take advantage of natural disasters to become limited. Human, it's impossible to directly control floods and droughts. But this setback can't break the resolve. Want to fight droughts and floods? Of the talented brothers, after trying dozens of methods, without results, the talented world has kept an eye on the noble Dharma. The oldest is the origin of all magic. If we can't become the embodiment of drought and flooding, thoroughly control them, then conquer evil and limit and then indirectly through them. Flood and drought control. Is it okay? Once the light of thought is lit, it can't be extinguished. Just like that, the Han Dynasty, Tang Dynasty. Countless improvements, countless overturns and restarts. This dream has finally come true. God of War. Flood and drought controllers. By the power of man. At the same time overcame the evil, and the limit was born. This man's name is Nin Trung. Nin Trung is now. A large fireball appeared on his head. He had a very dark face and looked at the old man. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. You can stop here. The fireball on his head broke off. From the inside, countless lava flows down. Fell on him. After a while, Nin Trung's entire body was completely covered in lava. This is the most powerful demon master. The devil is the most devilish person. The state in front of us is the embodiment of drought. Transformation finished. Nin Trung immediately rushed up again. Attack the enemy. The gold is constantly spinning in the hand. One click carrying the fire flooding the sky, behind the back of the enemy. The reaction is not slow. Immediately swing the sword to catch. The VA has just touched the attack of Nin Trung. It melts away. Nin Trung saw that in a whisper. I guess right. This Kwang Jiang is just something. Just like the general. It's just that what it consumes is energy. So its form. That's a far cry from the generals we've met before. But no matter how the outside changes, the mechanism of action remains the same. As long as it can be consumed by the fire of the canvas, then we can borrow the power of drought. It's constantly reducing its capacity. He looked at the broken sword in his hand. Then he changed the shield in his hand. The volunteer just recreated the sword. Ning Trung laughed coldly when he saw that. I know I can't resist. You threw away the shield. Instead of the sword, you're going to fight me. Not to mention, can you touch me? Think, you just have to fight to solve the problem. It's really naive. The Lord doesn't care about his words. When the school sword condensed, it immediately rushed forward. Ning Trung did not say much anymore. Quickly implement Ra Rich Kim Trao. 10 transfer, ocean trade. He keeps spinning in place. And then fly up in front of the giant. He also raised his sword. Two sides. VA touched the fire with Kim Kwang burst out violently. Nearby remote enforcement. I'm talking to the devil right now. Volunteer workforce. That's a terrible thing to do. All converging on one person's body. If it's in the past, it's definitely a fantasy. The hell can you say that? We're going to go to the confrontation. Each other like this. It's hard for me to imagine. The SA continued with a sigh. If you have said so. Let's look at the scale of how much we've fought side by side. Can you answer me a question? You can hell with it. SA executed immediately set doubt in the heart. Karma, moral and moral will largely conflict with each other. What did you finally use to collect? 10 and store them. You can calmly look at him. It doesn't matter if I tell you. There is a master stronger than me. He had a relationship with an angel. In the small heaven. Before the enemy leaves this world. He helped me get a job. It can extract and turn karma. These karmic forces in my body. We put it all on others. If she and I were both here, karma will also be used at will. When the judge finished listening, he woke up. Then Ra is like that. No blame, my panda can't kill her. Because there's a part of you in her body. The king does not need fire. Based on this deep, mystical connection, she can avoid it. The instant death effect of the devil. Just like that year, you can fuck yourself. The right knife on you. The hell can speak up now. Okay, the Q&A is over. It's time for me to send you off. The devil just finished talking. In the back, there was a huge explosion. I can't wait to turn around and think. It's not my willing minister. I can't stand it so fast. The essay executed at this moment, the corners of the mouth also rose. Nin Trung decided to win and lose SAO. It's not far away. The Battle of Ning Trung was also successful. French minister volunteers of can fuck. He was now cut in half. No longer able to fight. And then he turned his head to the evil side. Say ra. Good job can be hard to understand. Who said it? I haven't finished the sentence yet. The police officer appeared behind his back. One hand grabbed his head. The sense of fighting has diminished, my friend. Logically speaking, the king cannot leave the place he governs. People can appear in this place. At the same time, they can use such great power. This is inherently very unusual. Master, you've probably got a trick. You can use your willpower to transform into a body. Then, at the time, you've devoted all your energy to making weapons. Just break the body that you used your will to create. Then you will never go back to the ocean again. Just said, he just stabbed me through the chest. Waiting for the body to break. Death essay is breathing. Success. And Ning Trung mused and stood there and saw something wrong. After a while, he woke up screaming. It's not over yet. Those energies and virtues have not yet been dissipated. Just like he said, the two black and gold spheres are still at the side of the evil. Right now, on his back, a human face appeared. Fortunately, we still left a way back. The first is the moral compass. Follow his voice. The black ball immediately exploded. Take two evil people and execute SA as the center. A tornado of color. Black giant appeared in Lao House. Ning Trung stood there and watched. It's still impossible to understand. It shouldn't be. The king was apparently sent away by the SA. But borrow this power and sound. Why is SAO still not dissolved? Theo, more than this German. SAO again, under no contact situation. Suddenly burst out again. While Nin Trung contemplated. The power of the devil. Condensed again and again. He turned his head and looked at the puzzled general. It's even more confusing now. And so is this weird thing. The man who summoned Ra has left. But it can still move. I've never heard of a minister like this. The world has now stood up again. Face can fuck behind her back, endlessly assigned. To burn in the fire of negative virtue, to pray to Ra, and then explode underground. The storm will be seriously damaged. Then you run out. With prisoners who escaped. When you hear it, move immediately. Without any hesitation, plunge straight inside the virtuous cycle. There's only a prayer ball inside right now. SA executed and delivered evil. I can't see the shadow anymore. So do not hesitate. Quickly jump up and grab the power prayer. Next, they hit directly below the ground. Very quickly, the ground was crushed, and so was. That fell below. The hell can continue this. Okay, break it up. Throw it out. They are going to do what the hell they say. But right now, in front of her, there appeared a photo. This person is Gao, Justin Kier's coffin. He looked a little surprised and said, "It's amazing I've never met you before. But on your people, there is cause and effect." After a moment of observing the body, He just woke up. Then Ra is like that, Sao. You are a good person for 10 years. But he also received no blessings. Under the domination of cause and effect, humiliated by bandits. After death, turned by the ungodly into the wicked. Cannot re-enter reincarnation. It's the fault of the cause. Now I will help you be free. When he finished speaking, he reached out his hand and tried to catch it. I can fuck behind my back and scream. So quick to hear his words. Then immediately jump back. I can't hear the hell out loud. There's a bit of a pause. The voice just now. It's a little familiar. The devil is in the back. Air pressure sensor on Cao Thang. This product is not wrong. This is hydro-celestial. I don't blame you for recovering so early. Turns out, he was a false leader. Next appointed by the martyrs. I'm afraid that if the Kier falls, he will be able to take his place immediately. To become the first to accept life and death. While he was contemplating, Gao Sheng appeared in front of him. He was a little surprised to ask you. I saw the enemy coming. Immediately raise your hand to attack. Gao did not pay attention to her. Give her a hand and grab her arm. My eyes are still staring at you. It's been a while since we met. Why did you become like this again? The Holy Spirit has not given you. The hell can't care about him. Quickly tell Bach. Hurry up and use that. When you hear that, put the other hand up and press the defect. Uncle Gao laughed coldly when he saw that. Just buy a small epic. They want to take the life of the victim. By this kind of low-key spell trick, Sao. This difficulty is no different from ordinary swearing at the blue sky, the little ant that wants to shake the big elephant. I can't believe you saw this move. Nothing can be done by the enemy. The face also wrinkled. And suddenly, he's like, something's coming up, not in the habit of speaking. It's not like this. You are not high. Who are you after all? When you hear that, your eyes open. Look at the enemy. That's very sensitive, even though the cause claims to be the savior of mankind. But incomplete memories can't be faked. The cause is not the real high. It's just an inheritance of the memories of the Gao. I was lucky to be a martyr. I can't wait to hear that quickly. In terms of stance, we shouldn't conflict. We blow up this Lao house, let the criminals escape. You can also take this opportunity. Escape from the scope of surveillance of the great. Both sides benefit highly. Immediately raise to fingers. It can't be calculated like that. The cause is not the real high. But I quite agree with the times of prosperity. Made by the savior of mankind, Kier. And the world he holds dear. What will your actions lead to? The cause knows perfectly well. The hell can you hear that? If that's the case, you can crush it. But the 100 seconds had not yet crushed the prayer of force. Then her other arm was suddenly severed. High and prosperous one hand. Arm. He is holding the power of the 100 seconds cut off. Slowly fly back to him. The cause soon paid attention. A volunteer entity with that weight. I don't need to know what it is used for. But right now, suddenly, he hugged his head and kept screaming. I can't believe you can immediately scream. His current state is not right. Take this opportunity to volunteer. If you don't have hands, you can use your feet. But I just finished talking, so I can't move. Then Gao Sheng woke up. He used cold eyes. It's a shame to look at him. It's time. I want to talk to you a little more. Speaking of which, his body disappeared in place. A blink of an eye appeared next to the 100. Then you can throw your face down. He looked at the face of the man in the high hand. Let's start with you. I can't believe he used magic power. They don't stop screaming. High Thunder plan will absolutely not succeed. Even if we have 7 defeats. Then you're outside the Kier gate. It will also stop you. The hell can I finish these words? It also completely disappeared. Gao Sheng was a little angry. That's a lot of talk. Everything else has been told to you. The cause is not high. Done can fuck. He just glanced to the side of the world. Now run ahead. Force prayer ball. 1 foot up, ready to step on. When he saw that, he opened his mouth. I want to follow the sound. The movement of the 100 immediately stopped the picture on the spot. He watched his opponent stroke his beard thoughtfully. How should I handle you? After a moment of thought, he raised his hand. His body was immediately smashed into countless small pieces. This will give you eternal sleep. The body is broken from within, and a soul flies out. This is the soul of the 100. She looked at the tall man in front of her. Keep your head down. Thank you. Hai calmly replied. That's what the cause should do. Then the soul of the 100 seconds also slowly dissipated. The tunnel is now quiet again. There's only Gao standing there. To move the scene to the temple of the emperor. When I heard 10 people say, someone died. The crow is now sitting up, face to face with the chain. What is the nature of this Buddha? There is no doubt that you have calculated a path of the old man. Kins is dangerous. These 2 hexagons, no matter how they're explained, you can't reduce people. It's also extremely difficult to understand. Before the eyes of heaven, the rise cannot be determined. Where's the problem after all? 10 now look outside the door. Tell me someone is dead. 2 people. When I hear that, my mouth is filled with fear. At this time, the royal statue behind, they have cracks again. And immediately broke in 2. Beneath the Lao. Nin Trung has also completely dealt with the volunteer. Then he turned his head towards the hole. That's what the 100. His body flashed into the hole. Just landed below. Nin Trung immediately implemented the customs to look around. Very quickly, he found the body of evil and remote execution. The 2 of them now had their bodies burned to the ground. If you are in a bad corner, it is not clear whether you live or die, but the SA execution is still a bit of a slump. Nin Trung could feel his breath. There's also a little breathing out. Not dead is good. Suddenly, he felt the air wobbling behind him. Turn the copper back. As you can see, Gao Sheng is slowly moving forward. He just walked away and said, Nin Trung, who are these murderous bandits who brought in? Nin Trung saw that Cao Thang immediately kneeled down to worship. Your Majesty is not the devil here. It's a king among the villains. He used a trick. Prevent warning of mouth filling. Because they couldn't detect their VI. Should left the porcelain of Kim Maze. I mistook them for Class A criminals. Just put a nail in the house. Detention for Class A inmates, Gao asked in a loud voice. How do you explain it? You and death are connected. Couldn't stop that psychopathic thief. Let their people come in here. It almost took away the gold and jade. Nin Trung is a little hesitant to respond. Is God. I have discovered in the enemy that there is a spiritual master. He is afraid that he will destroy the earth. Let the criminals go. Before he finished speaking, Gao Huang interrupted him. It's like that? I don't feel like it. You have trained the sky. There is a little change in the 4 sides of the sky. You definitely have it in your hand. Even if someone has an attitude, I want to destroy Goddess will against you. You will still have enough time. Turn them around and chase them away. Nin Trung heard the enemy question. The face wrinkled. I don't know how to answer the question. There was a small creature on his shoulder right now.